Hi guys, today we are going to create some examples on the C++ programming language, okay? And so, in order to create a new project on the VS Code, we should select with Open with Code to another folder in your computer, and then the VS Code is opened, okay? And what? As always we need to add some main CPP function or the file in here, and also we need to add the new terminal page, okay? And then what? So we should drive a example file in here with the main function. You can remember that the main function is a starting address for the C and C++ programming language, okay? Starting address on RAM, okay? And so the compiler knows that this definition of the main as a keyword, and so this keyword translates into the specific address on the RAM in machine language, and then your code can be applied on this system based on this RAM. In the embedded system designs, you can use the flash or the RAM processors or memories, but in your computer design x68 processor structure, you can use it always, okay? And so, in the previous lesson, we have talked about the differences between the C and C++ programming language. And so, in the first example, hello world should be given in here, okay? And so if I run by clicking the Ctrl plus F5 button in here, and so VS Code asks us to this notation cpp.exe or g++.exe, and I always use the g++exe because in the embedded systems and the Windows or any operating systems can be applicable by using this executable file or compiler file in here, okay? And so if I choose this selection and then what? And so the terminal gives us the hello world characters, okay? And so this is the standard code of C application, but we can use this main.cpp file in terms of the CPP structure, okay? And so today we are going to talk about some include operations and some functions or operands in the C++ programming, okay? First thing first, we should show you how to compile this code without the debugging session. Normally you can use the C or G++.exe in here, like this one, main.cpp. And so we can create any executable file in here, okay? Because the G++.exe takes an argument to any file can be compiled on this system if the code is true, okay? And so you can use these coding techniques by compiling the main cpp.file, okay? And so you can also give some specific codes like the command window, like this one, -o and the main exe, okay? And so we can create the main executable file with a specific name like this one. And so what about this? What's the meaning of this? When I push the Ctrl plus F5 button, and then the compiler or the interview or this interface creates a code like this one, but these whole codes included in the arguments section in here, okay? And so if I click the Ctrl plus F5 button with the debugging session, this program is code. And so in the text file g++.exe empty space -g, this file and this file and this file is written on this page like this one. Okay, this VS Code is only operated on this basic arguments notation. Okay, this is simple. And so you can use either the Ctrl F5 button, or you can use this compiling session by using these codes. Okay, there are many options to compile your codes in here. Okay, and so what about the C++? First thing first, standard input-output header file is both in currency as in C or C++ programming. Okay, and so you can use this header file both in C and C++. And so what about this header file? Every code in the C compiler or in the C++ compiler has like these definitions. Okay, and so this definition creates some declarations in order to use the specific function given from the compiler designers. Okay, and so if you examine this file, and then you can use this declaration with the source files. Okay, and so there are some differences between the C and C++ programming language, because in C programming language, header file cannot possess the source code, but in C++ programming language, if you are using or if you are check this IOStream header file in here like this one, this IOStream possess the whole both function declaration and function definition. As a result, we can summarize the whole things is that in C programming language, header file only include to what the declaration of the variables and functions. But in C++ or CPP programming language, the header file has or have both source code and its declaration. Okay, this is the basic property of the C++ programming language, because if you are using some libraries, for example map, if you are using the map class, you may use this class structure in here. But in C++ programming language, from the feature of the object-oriented notation, we may have the function definition on the class structure or on the header file notation. And so we can say that in CPP we don't need to use the source file, unlike the C programming language. Okay, and so in the C++ programming language, we may have only the main execution files in here with the main function, but the other files, everything can be written in the header file notation. Okay, just like that. And so this is the first example of our codes in here today. So you will learn about how to use this notation in here, but now this is enough for you. And so this is the first example in here, example 1, and so example 2. Okay, and so what about the CPP programming language? iStream, just like the what, just like the include standard input output header file, but with some basic differences. In iStream file we may use the printf function also in here. Okay, and so if I run this program and then hello world is also written on the terminal page, but the printf is included what or is defined in the what, the standard input output.h, but iStream is the extension of this library. Okay, but with some basic differences. In C++ programming language we have the object-oriented notation, and so if we have this kind of definition in here, like this one, hello world, you don't need to know this now in here, but if I run this code, and so we may have the hello world at the second page. And so what about this notation? This notation is that iStream possess the cout class in here, but within the page of the what, the namespace of std. Okay, and so if I click the control button and left click on this, and so the whole notation is given in here like this one. std is a namespace or scope area on this CPP programming language, and so the everything is defined in this notation. And so we have also a cout in here, and cout is also as the what, the this definition. And then what? cout or cin is a input output class oriented or object oriented variables. Okay, but in the next time we will call it a class structure. Okay, but now at that time we should use without the knowledge of these things, because you need to learn how to use the class and its definition. But if we have an input and output session on your CPP programming language, and so you need to use this cout and lee operations in here. Okay, but this term printf can be translated into the what, this term in CPP programming language. Okay, C programming language, CPP programming language. Okay, and so this is the second examples in here, like this one. And so if I copy of a whole things in here, like this one, and then may through the third examples in here. Unlike the C programming language, cout can be used by using these terms. Okay, the problem is that the cout was not declared in this scope. What's the problem? The problem is that the extension of the C programming language, there's a keyword in CPP programming. which is called the using keyword. Using keywords is used to reach the any namespace in this scope area. Okay, and so if I run in this program, and then what the hello world is also written on this terminal page. And what about this? Using means that any namespace with the name of the std, or in the extension form of the standard namespace, is included by these keywords. And what is the difference between the include keyword? Include keyword, it's directly related to the compiling time. Okay, compiling time. But this is related to related to linking to some scope with the main body or main codes in your programs. Okay, and so this namespace is just like the scope area, but this namespace includes to some class or structures or functions or variables. Okay, blah blah blah. And so what's the advantage of using this namespace in here? You can split every code by using the namespace, like this one, namespace A and namespace B can be added in here. Okay, and so if I create the namespace structure like this one, C, and if I create the C namespace structure, if I run this code, there is no error. But in C programming language, this namespace C is conflicted with the namespace C is included in the B. But if you are using the different namespace with a different name, and then you can split your codes in order to the same variables on the different place. Okay, and so it's easy to track your code by using in that program. Okay, and then what? This is the basic definition of this namespace, but this is irrelevant at that moment. But if we are using the namespace with the name of the std, with the property or the class object of the cout value, and then we need to use this using namespace std, or we should give the specific namespace variant like this one. This cout is defined or is called by the cout with the property of the or the elements of the std and the of the elements of the std. Okay, they are both the correct form of these things in here, like this one, hello world. And if you are at the using keywords in here, and if I run this program, and then we have the hello world and hello world in the terminal page. Okay, these are the basic notation of the usage of the specific CPP libraries or the header files. Okay, and the namespace. And then we should also copy of all the things in here, like this one, 4, and then we may eliminate the whole the things in here. Okay, and then what? We can use the C++ programming like the C programming language. What about this? if we have the integer a value in here and integer b value, and then the main progress or the main objective of this program is that we have two variables coming from the user, and so we need to do input on this b and a value, or in another terms, the memory of the b and a should be filled with the input of the usage or user in here, and so the C stores the collection or the summation of these variables. How can we do that? And so if we have this kind of notation in here, and then we should warn the user by using give two or enter two numbers in here like this one, and then in the C programming language we have C input class or object oriented variable in here like this one. And so this shift operators is a specific operators and its complex structure in here, but it's coming from the operator overloading mechanism on this page, and so it's directly related to the function definition, but it's too complex for you because in order to understand this usage of this shifting operators, firstly you need to learn about how we can create a class and its inheritance and polymorphic features. Okay, and so ignore it how to or how is it using in here or how it's run. But if we have two variables to be filled in our program, and then you may use the cout to show the any printed objects in here in the terminal page. And so if we need to take a input value from the user or from the terminal, we should use the cin function. Okay. And then what? And then we should calculate the a and b in here. C is equal to what? A plus b. And then what? The result of this variable or summation result is what? C and antly. Antly means that the new line character in C++ programming language. Okay, and so if I run this code and then what? Enter two numbers, for example 5 and 4 in here, and so the summation result is the 9. Okay, these are the basic usage of this programming language. Okay. And when it comes to the C programming language, how can we create or achieve this code? By using these terms like this one. For example, this the C++ notation. But in C programming language we should create the what? The printf enter two numbers in here like this one, and so we need to use the scanf function in here with the specific term of %d values in here, and so address ba and address b should be given at this code. And so C is equal to what? A plus b in here, and so in the final case the summation result is to what? %d new line, and so C. Okay, and then what? If we are run these codes in here like this one, 5 and 4 is in here, and summation result is 9. And so the important point is that this definition is directly related to the C programming language. C programming language. But this is the CPP notation. Okay, we can use the whole class object, or we can use the whole these object-oriented variables in the C++ programming language. But in the C, these codes are identical with this one. This is the analogy of the C and C++ programming language. Okay, and then what? These are the 4 examples in here, like this one. And so you should also comment the whole things in here. Like this one. And so, what about the function of this programming language? We may have, or we may proceed with some sort of the calculation process on this main body, and assume that you need to build a summation or the sum calculator on your computers in here, like this one. Integer a and integer b is given in here, or num1 and num2 is given here, and integer result is also included at this process. And so this num1 and num2 is processed with the what? With the summation, negation, multiplying, or divided by any number of this process. But you should constantly using this progress in your program. Okay, and so in order to do that, we should create some specific codes in here as an example of the function usage at that moment, like this one. Please give the choice of your calculator in here. Okay, and cin is what is with the selection process, and so we need to also define the selection in here. And what about the general progress? And so if we have the 4 options in here, cout value should be organized with the what? The summation, or we need to add the and leave process in here with a new line character, and cout negation and leave, and multiplication progress is also in here, and cout division is needed to be defined at this moment. Okay, this is the main progress of our codes in here. And so if we run these codes just like that and so we need to select any codes in here, like this one. The one is assigned to the selection page at this moment. And then what? In this notation we should add some new line character in here to progress, because the summation is written or is nearest to the what? Please give the choice of your calculator. And so if I had this code, and then summation, negation, multiplication and division is in the correct order at this moment. Okay, and then what? We should create some structure in here, or summation for 1, negation for 2, multiplication for 3, and division or 4 is the correct number for the selection of this process. But In order to terminate this program, exit 4, 5. Choice should be added in here, or -1. Okay? These are the basic structure for our calculating or calculator program in here. Okay? And then if this progress, or if the selection is not equal to the -1, and then what the progress or the calculation process is continued with the what, with the programs, or by the programs. Okay, and so we can build the switch case operation in here, like this one, the selection at this moment, and so the case value, the switch value, like this one, the case 1 breaks, and case 2 break, and case 3 break, and case 4 break. Okay, there's no need to write the -1 process, because the selection is given to the -1, and then this while loop is ended. Okay, and so in order to improve our program, we can define some precompiled commands in here. Some selection with the name of the 1, define negation, nega selection. 2, define mul selection. 3, and define the div selection as 4. And so the sum selection can be translated into what, these things, and so nega selection can be given in here, mul selection can be given in here, div selection can be given here. In that case, the readable code is opened, or this code can easily be read by the users or the programmers. Okay, and so the exit code also defined in here, define exit selection in here with the name of the -1. Okay, and so this can be translated with the what, with this codes or coding selection. And so the whole statements can be written in this page or in this area. Okay, and so in this process we can define the my sum function with what, with the num1 or num2. But if we have this kind of functions in here, and then my sum can be used by this notation. My negation can be given in here, and so my multiplication can be given in here, my division can be given at this moment. Okay, and so we need to delete, or we should not use these variables at this moment, because the whole function prototype includes the specific number of these things in terms of the what, num1 and num2. And so main body block does not need require the numbers and results value, but these functions should have these variables. Okay, and then what if I select the any choice in here, for example the nega selection, and so this function is processed, and then we should ask the user to what, these things. Okay, again like this one, but we need to create some empty space on this page, and then if we have this kind of functions in here, and so the process is continuous until what? Until the selection is equal to the what? The exit selection, or -1. Okay, and then we need to write the mySum function in here with the return value of the what? The void value. There's no return value in here. Okay, and then cout, give or enter two numbers in here like this one, and so int num1 and int num2 is also given here, and we may proceed with these variables. In num1 and num2 is fed by the users, and then what? The cout value or the result is also defined in here int result value. The result value is equal to the what? Num1 plus num2, and so the cout, the summation of your numbers is equal to the what? The result values. Okay, this is the basic process of our algorithm in here. Like this one, we should add the my negation function in here, like this one. Enter two numbers, and so num1 minus num2 is given in here, and negation of your numbers is equal to the what? Result. Okay, and so if I copy off the whole these things in here, and the other function, my multiplication, is given in here, and multiplication is equal to the what? These terms, because the only things that need to be changed in this code, in this statement, result is equal to the what? Num1 times num2, and so multiplication of your numbers is equal to what? The results. Okay, and then what about the my division function? My division function is equal to the what? These terms. But in this case, we should evaluate the num2 value, because if num2 value is equal to the 0, and then this is the undefined behavior or the runtime error. Okay, and so if num2 is equal to the 0, and then we should warn the user, cout, you cannot give the 0, give 0 to the num2 value, because of what? Because of infinity problem. Okay, but if num2 is not equal to the 0, and then what? The else process is run. Okay, and so the whole code is completed, and then we may check the code is okay or not. Okay, if I run these codes by pushing the control of these terms, not clear. Okay, if I run this code again by clicking the Ctrl plus F5 button, and so the summation of these counts 1 is given in here, enter two numbers 5 and 8, and so the summation of your numbers is equal to the what? 13. Okay, and so division 4, and then 4 0 in here, and then you cannot give 0 to the num2 value because of infinity problem, and so the choice is going in here, -1 for exit. Okay, and we can improve our program the adding the some notations in here. Cout value summation process is started, and cout value and leave value, cout value and leave value, and we should also give this process ended should be added at this code. Okay, and so my negation process is also increased with the warning of these variables or these codes, and negation process is ended. And then what my multiplication process here, multiplication process is started, and multiplication process is ended. And then we may have the another choice, and here division process is started, and division process is ended. Okay, so clear is given in here, and if I run these codes at this moment, and please give the choice of your calculator, summation for 1 blah blah blah, and so multiplication is given in here, multiplication process started, enter two numbers in here like this one, 4 and 5. 4 and 5 gives what? The 20. And so the re-election of your process is given here like this one, negation process is 2, and so negation process started, and so 4 to 12, and so the negation of your numbers -8, and negation process is ended until what? Until giving to the -1 in here. Okay, these are the basic usage of the cout and cin in this programming language. And so these are the identical with the what the printf and scanf function in the C programming language. Okay, and so today is the final example of this session. In the next week we will talk about the deeper topics or the special topics on the C++ programming. And so this is only the preparation lesson for your knowledge, and reminding the process with the what, with the differences and similarities of the C and C++ programming language. Okay.